I am.
I am.
I am. I am.
I am.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of We Are Downstream Outdoors. This week, I have our own Miss Lindsey P. of Compass Rose Herbals. Miss Lindsey, you're known as our tincture lady. How did you come about starting to get into tinctures and such like that?
Started learning herbal medicine years ago, wandering the woods with a friend of mine, trying to figure out what we were looking at, and digging through books, figuring out plants, and got as far as I could and decided to go to school.
Oh, okay. So where did you go to school for this kind of stuff at?
Blue Ridge School of Herbal Medicine.
Blue Ridge School of Herbal Medicine. That's really neat. Now, on that, obviously you were fairly old at that point. What is your earliest memory of really being into this kind of stuff?
Wandering around the woods at my dad's farm.
So it comes from being a little girl and, wandering around and stuff like that.
Yep.
Do you have any special memories from when you were young of, things that really, stuck out to you whenever you were young?
I remember picking trilliums and learning some of the flowers when I was young, and that you're not supposed to these days. Picking them and putting them at my dad's house on his table and wandering streams. And
now, okay, I'm going to ask you a funny little question. Obviously, you said you picked trilliums. What color trilliums were you picking?
Mostly white trilliums, but every once in a while we get the red wake robin trilliums.
Okay, and the red ones are the smelly ones. Am I not wrong on that?
Stinking Benjamin.
Stinking Benjamins, yes. And many women's households over the years have been stunk up by a stinking Benjamin because their kids thought they were beautiful, and they are absolutely beautiful. They're a beautiful flower. So ultimately, there had to have been some sort of trigger there, though. Some sort of trigger that said, this is where I want my life to go.
Just always love the outdoors, wandering around. So anything that gets me outside, and plants don't move. So the more I was wandering the woods, animals weren't there, but the plants were always there. So
yeah, fair enough.
Got to learning them.
Obviously, now you can find Miss Lindsey on Compass Rose Herbals. You're on Facebook. You do a lot of plant walks around the Pittsburgh area, correct?
Yes, I have done with the Delmont Public Library, and then recently I'm on the board of the Westmoreland Conservancy. So I've been doing walks through all of their different reserves around Westmoreland County. And
obviously you're trying to educate people about the outdoors as much as possible.
Teach them.
Now, is there a particular direction you go with that? Are you going with edible, medicinal, or just, hey, look at this plant, this is what we can use it for?
A little bit of both. The edible and medicinal people are really interested in. And then I point out anything else I find, even if I don't know uses for it. And really teaching people the medicinal ones is really useful for empowering people to take over their own health care and really keep themselves healthy without having to go to the hospitals and doctors for the minor things and little things that you can
maybe it's a difference in cultures. Around here, I struggle to get people interested in the medicinal. I'm struggling to get people interested in the edibles around this region for some reason, but I definitely find more interest in the edibles. Do you find people have more interest in your area in the edibles or the medicinals, or they're just happy for the knowledge?
They're just happy for the knowledge. They really like being out on the walk. A lot of the stuff they never even would have thought you could use, and people tend to be nervous about the edibles and the medicinals and using them outside of somebody standing over their shoulder and helping them with them. So I try to focus on ones that are really easy in their yards, that they can start out with, like dandelion in your yard or violet, that you really can't mess up because people are scared of poisoning themselves or this or that, which, if you learn the poisonous plants, then you're usually pretty good. But I focus on a lot of the ones that are in their lives every day, goldenrod that they see every day driving down the road or taking a walk. So it's getting people more used to them.
Fair enough. It sounds like our theory on educating people on plants is very much the same. You definitely want to focus on ones where people can say, oh, I know what a dandelion is. Well, I'm going to tell you what you can use a dandelion for. And then it sticks in people's minds a little bit more because I know what a dandelion is. And I'm sure you probably see this too. I know whenever I lead walks and stuff like that, I have to try the things in front of the people before they'll even think about trying it. Do you run into that a lot too?
Yes, I'll have to try it. And when I talk about eating things, some of them are like, no way. Kids tend to want to try everything.
Yep.
You have to kind of be real specific, like don't do this without your parents. Make sure you know what you're eating so you're not having kids eat willy-nilly through the woods. But yeah, once I try it and say, it tastes like this, they'll usually give it a try.
One of my favorite ones to do is Caddy Nine Tails, believe it or not. Because everybody looks at you and goes, you can't eat that. Oh, yeah, you can. Here, taste it. Personally, I think it tastes kind of like a cucumber. I love Caddy Nine Tails, but that's one I know that once people taste it, they fall in love with it. And there is so many. I'm shooting a video. And you're walking right at the camera.
He just goes.
I thought you were saying a deer's out.
Yeah, he's getting ready to like hunt a deer.
Sorry, I was trying to get his attention with the least amount of noise.
I didn't know.
Okay.
Good interruption.
Okay, here we go. Back into it. Is there something that you've introduced people to a lot of wild edibles? Is there something that generally is a favorite right off the bat that you see, like I do with the Caddy Nine Tails?
People really like spice bush berries. You can get them to smell them and taste them. And I've made spice bush cookies for different talks I've done, and I'll take them, and they're like, "Oh, you can eat these things." So giving them recipes has been good. I've taken violet jelly and had people try violet jelly. So usually when you've incorporated it into a different something that's cooked, they're more apt to try it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Elderberry syrup's a good one. I've had that sitting out, and people have heard of elderberries, have eaten elderberries, so they'll try it that way.
Well, and it works out too, because a lot of things that we classify as wild edibles, to eat them straight up, they're not really that delicious, especially when it comes to greens and stuff like that. A lot of times the greens you pick in nature are more of a bitter green, and they have to be balanced out with a flavor. So, I mean, I get that completely, you know, like I like a sweet and a sour with my bitter greens, and it's just a really nice flavor complement. So, obviously, you're educated in this more technical education than what I have. I learned everything from talking to people and running around in the woods. And so people are going to take you a little bit more seriously on the wild edibles because you can sit back and say, well, I have this degree from a school. Where do you plan to go with the future? Because I'm sure you want to do more than just do these talks around your neighborhood. Is there somewhere you plan to take this?
Well, technically, it's not a degree. There's no degree in the United States for herbal medicine. It's more just you went to school and that's just to say you...
Fair enough. Okay. Instead of a degree, you have a certificate saying that you've studied this.
Yeah, I got a piece of paper, but it doesn't mean anything. But where would I go? Definitely want to keep doing walks. I'd like to teach more classes. Some land that I'm working on, I'd really like to do hands-on classes there, and maybe some weekend, take people out in the woods for a weekend camping and wild craft and find everything.
Bushcrafting.
Yeah, bushcraft. Do some harvesting there. So kind of bigger events and reaching more people. I like writing things, so maybe I'll write more.
Now, Lindsey and I have talked about this, and I've talked to Aaron about this, and we're actually going to try for maybe 2020, as early as 2020, we're going to try to have a big conference where we're bringing people in from all over, hopefully the United States, to teach classes, and hopefully people come from all over to learn. And we want to, basic life skills is what we call them. People, they like to call them earth skills or bushcrafting skills. No, they're life skills. They're skills that if you didn't have all your modern amenities, you would need these to live. And these are skills that so many people are lacking, I feel, in today's modern culture, unfortunately. Now, you said you want to do classes on your land. What are you going to do, like your agricultural classes, in horticulture, not horticulture, I can't even think of the word for it, permaculture? Are you teaching like a permaculture? Or?
I personally don't know a whole lot of permaculture, but I'm trying to learn more on how to make, your own medicines, how to make the tinctures, the salves, the different teas, how to do mushroom log inoculations, things along those lines. I'd like to eventually down the road do plant walks, how to grow different herbs, especially ones that are easy to grow, and teaching kind of where they grow, different forest types and different herbs, like different spaces.
Fair enough. All right. Jake, look at that screen. Is that still recording?
Go ahead and just look at it since he's talking right now.
Just pause.
What?
Just pause. Oh, it's not down.
Oh, Jesus. The numbers are rolling at the bottom, right?
There's no numbers at the bottom. At the top they're rolling.
Okay, there's numbers roll. Okay, here we go. All right, well, obviously keep paying attention to us here at DownStream Outdoors. You can follow Miss Lindsey at Compass Rose Herbals on Facebook to get any information on any of her walks. If you're ever in southwestern Pennsylvania, she's a great person to learn from. I enjoy talking to Lindsey, and thank you, Lindsey, for doing this with us.
Thanks for having me up here.
It's wonderful. We're going to try to get Lindsey in some more this summer, and hopefully get some more videos shot with Lindsey, and that way the people who follow me can learn a lot more about you and what you can teach, because obviously as much as I'm into it, you seem like you're into it even more.
Thanks.
So with that, everybody, thank you for joining us. Join us next week for another episode of We Are DownStream Outdoors. We're going to feature somebody else on next week's episode. And that's all the time we have for today.